Hey guys, Dr. Morse, Injury Experts. So it's Wednesday night. We're heading into week 4. The week 4 Thursday night game is tomorrow night. So I want to give you an update on all the new players that are injured and kind of where we're at heading into this week. The buys start next week, so that will have an impact on the injuries. Now, I try to do this so that you have an idea not only who you can expect for playing for your favorite team, but also who is going to be playing for your fantasy team, and maybe from a betting perspective. This guy's going to be healthy, this guy's going to be someone we should target, so on and so forth. I'm going to split it up probably going forward just because they're so long. So this one is going to be quarterbacks and running backs. The second one is going to be wide receivers and tight ends. And then I might not be able to do another one on Sunday morning. The timing is going to be a little tricky. I have something going on. So I'll fill you in throughout the week, the rest of the week. But as of right now, this is going to be my big update heading into the weekend. So the Miami quarterback situation, we don't really know what's going on. Skylar Thompson unfortunately suffered a chest injury, probably a rib injury if I were to guess. It could be a rib fracture, but they labeled him as day-to-day, which usually does not mean a rib fracture. My suspicion is Tyler Huntley, Snoop Huntley, will be the go-to. This is actually a nice buy low for some of the guys right now because Huntley could actually make this offense potentially work, and it did not work last week. They have a little bit of a tough matchup against the Titans down here in Miami on Monday night, which is why they haven't practiced yet, so we don't have any updates. But from what I could tell, the only one that's really overly concerning besides Moster, who probably should come back, is Skylar Thompson. Justin Herbert practiced in a limited capacity today. He sounds like he wants to play. I think it's a stupid idea, but realistically, the problem with this is he suffered a high ankle sprain. They have a bye next week. They're missing Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. They don't have one of their top defensive players, and they're facing Mahomes. Knowing Herbert and who he is, not personally, but just what I've seen, he's going to want to play. The problem is that's not in his best interest because he's at very high risk for not only re-injuring the high ankle again, but he could potentially lead to a fracture, which would derail his season. I personally think they should hold him out because he's not going to be able to make it this whole game with Chris Jones running down his back. He might not even make it through the first quarter. So if he ends up going, we're going to smash the unders. But as of right now, I think we're going to hit Quentin Johnston kind of over the middle. McConkey is still kind of sneaky. They do play high too, so we'll kind of focus on that. Brock Purdy, who he actually did really good. He got lucky that his back injury isn't as bad as it could have been. He should be fine. I'm not overly worried about about him this week. He should be fine. He's playing my Patriots, and he should be fine. Derek Carr popped up today with a groin injury, but I'm not overly concerned. He's not much of a runner. It's probably the mild groin strain. Rarely do I see a left or right designation, but this time we did. But again, not a concern. Sam Darnold with that knee injury got lucky. Should have no long-term issues with this. He should be fine this week. A little bit of a bone bruise, but man, did he get lucky. He might get Jordan Addison back this week as well. Patrick Mahomes kind of tweaked his knee in that last play of the game, but I'm not overly worried, nothing to really worry about. Andy Dalton also popped up today with an ankle injury, but again, not a big concern. He had a fantastic debut, filling in obviously for Bryce Young. And realistically, they lost one of their top linemen for at least a week or two with an elbow injury, so that will play a little bit of a role. Love Deontay, but he did lose Thielen to IR. So we're going to probably see some more Leggett, some more Tremble, and obviously there's a couple other guys. Brooks could be back in a week or two. They announced that today, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Jordan Love, I have a feeling that they're going to let him play this game. It's a little risky, not a crazy amount of risk, but a little bit of risk. I think there's a good chance he suits up in this game. Normal timeline, perfect timeline would have been next week, so he's a little bit ahead of schedule, which is good. Not overly concerning. I think there's a decent chance he ends up suiting up this week. Love Jaden Reed. Wicks and Watson are kind of going back and forth. Dubes is always kind of Mr. Reliable. Tucker Kraft banged up, so we'll have to see how that plays out. And Jacobs has been pretty good along with Emmanuel. So But I think, the main guy for me in this offense is really Reed. I mean, he makes everything click, and he looks like Debo 2.0. Russell Wilson, I think they're just going to continue to basically do what they've been doing. He's essentially the backup at this point. They're one of the only few undefeated teams, so why would they rock the boat? Justin Fields looks pretty good. Now we're going to finish strong here with running backs. Alvin Kamara popped up today with 2 injuries, a rib injury and a hip injury. I don't think the hip injury is a big deal, but rib injuries can be really painful, especially if there's a fracture or a cartilage injury. It is Wednesday. We could view this as a veteran rest day, so keep an eye on this, but I'm not super concerned, but I do have some concerns. If he does not practice Thursday or Friday, he's probably going to be out. We're going to look at Jamal Williams, and we might have to look at the kid that's on IR with his hammy, Kendre Miller, because he has the talent. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So this is a little bit, Rhamondre Stevenson, last week's Thursday night game, it looked like he tweaked his finger. He ended up not even being on the report, so I have no concerns. He's good. Najee Harris came in yesterday with a sling on. Obviously a little bit of concern. He likely suffered a right AC sprain of the shoulder. He should be good to go. He is pretty much going to lead this team in rushing attempts. Jalen Warren banged up with a knee injury. He had an MRI. I don't think he plays this week, although we don't really have specifics. Maybe they get a little bit more from Cordarrelle Patterson, but Najee Harris looks like the main running back this week. He is at increased re-injury risk, so be a little bit careful there, but I think he ends up going out. Austin Ekeler, unfortunately, has been already ruled out with a concussion because he doesn't have enough time to clear the concussion protocol. That doesn't mean it's more of a severe one. It just means that the timing doesn't work out for him, unfortunately. So we're going to see maybe even more Brian Robinson. Who I'm trying to remember who else is in that backfield. Maybe Chris Rodriguez. But someone else will get a little bit of work. Jerome Ford popped up today with a knee injury and did not practice. So this is potentially big news because Pierre Strong Jr. is out with a hamstring strain, which would pretty much leave Donta Foreman as the primary back. Nick Chubb is really not ready. Maybe, I don't know when he's going to be ready. It could be a couple more weeks, if not a month or more. Bucky Irving today popped up with a hamstring strain, and we're like, oh boy. But he limited practice. So that's what makes me kind of confused because I'm trying to figure out how he limited practice and suffered it on Sunday. Did he just tweak it? Because usually acute hamstring strain, you do not practice. So I'm not really freaking out about this, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Aaron Jones has looked incredible. That hip injury was not a big deal. Continue to ride with him. Rachaad White looks awful. Will receive the ball. Does have a groin strain coming back from that. But I see Bucky Irving taking over, assuming he can obviously stay healthy and get in there. The Houston backfield. Unfortunately, Joe Mixon is not going to be able to be back this week. He either has a medial ankle sprain, which is the inside, or the dreaded high ankle. Both are very severe, both are very significant. They haven't confirmed either, but they basically said he's week to week, which tells me he's not going to come back this week. Dameon Pierce, on the other hand, they said he might be able to come back this week, but he did not practice today, so it's not exactly consistent. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to come back by Sunday, and even then, I'm going to be cautious with him. Akers will have value this week, but it will change over the next 2 to 3 weeks. But it is what it is. Tyjae Spears actually looked pretty good last week. He should be healthier with that ankle. Tony Pollard has been looking pretty good. They're here in Miami this week, and Miami's defense is actually looking really good. Tank Bigsby came back with another, or probably a re-injury to that shoulder. Not overly concerning. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll play. But he did practice in limited capacity today. Josh Jacobs did not show up on the injury report this week with a back injury, so he should be good to go. Mostert coming back from that chest injury. We'll have to wait till tomorrow, so we don't have any details there. Kenneth Walker, more of the same. They play the other Monday Night Football game. This is his 3rd week dealing with this oblique strain. A lot of people asking me about this. I can't predict if he's going to come back until I see the injury report, unfortunately. The time frame fits. He might be able to come back this week, but in my opinion, you're still going to see a split backfield, so you have to be careful with Walker. He's going to be more of an RB2 flex than an RB1 if he does play due to re-injury risk and volume. He's probably going to get secondary to Charbonnet. So that's what I have for you. Do me a favor, after you smash the like and subscribe to this one, click the next wide receiver and tight end so you can finish them. Unfortunately, there's about 60 guys on the list. Thank you very much. Good luck in your matchups this weekend. Take care.